Welcome back on board the Starship. I'm talking to animal mutilation expert David Cayton, and before the break we were talking about the case near Manchester, which was in fact only 4 miles from Todmorden, which is a very famous UFO hotspot. Where tell us about it, David.
Yes, well, apart from lots of UFO sightings in that area, there's the famous case of ex-PC Alan Godfrey, who had his abduction experience there. But in 2002, responding to one of the Peel adverts in the Farmer's Guardian, a farmer lady rang me from a place called Lumberts, which is sort of a mile from the centre of Todmorden, and this is only 4 miles from the Wardle Reservoir, from the case of October last year.
October 2009.
Yeah. And again, they had a ewe which had the jaw strip, some throat damage as well, tongue missing, and one of the ears, and an eye. And then we went to investigate that. A friend, Robert Hulse, came with me and took some movie footage, which is in Silent Killers. And despite them promising to ring me if they found any more, they had in fact 2 other cases within a couple of months, exactly the same. So I found it rather interesting that with just 4 miles distance between the 2 cases, there might be.
So this adds weight to the theory that they're interested in very specific zones in the country.
Yes.
I mean, you can't say that for sure because there's not enough statistical information.
No, there isn't. No.
But if one was to make an assumption based on the evidence that there is, then it is pointing to the fact that they are interested in certain geographical zones.
Yes. Whether that's for convenience, for coming here from wherever
they're coming from,
or there's something else happening in the area which has some bearing on the effect of the quality of the animal or not, is anybody's guess.
And there have been a few cases local to where I live, which is in the northeast, Durham, Northumberland, and one in particular, which was at a place called Prairie, a farm that I went to. I spoke to the farmer, and he gave me some images of a calf, and I think he had 2 calves basically mutilated, where they were cut open from the sort of stomach area, and there was no damage to the head end or the back end. It was all in the central area, but everything had been removed and it was put down as a black cat in the in the local press.
Common excuse, as you might say.
A common excuse.
Yeah, and that again is quite close to geographically to
the Whittenstall.
To Whittenstall, yes.
So because of that, I'm aware that there's possibly activity going on in the region where I live. What I did, I produced 50 DVD copies of Silent Killers, and I went to a farming event, basically at the Hexham cattle mart, and I handed it out to 50 farmers who farm in the Hexham region.
Yes.
And this is when some of the farmers were saying, "Oh well, that's actually a badger. A badger's done that injury. The jaw strip is done by a badger." Now, why would a badger nibble away the side of the skin on a sheep? It doesn't make any sense.
No.
But like you say, they have to put it down to something, which is.
And I think it's a case of satisfying themselves as a straightforward reason, so they can perhaps sleep in their bed at night. Or they like to think they know everything that goes on in the countryside and with animals, because they're working with it, they're the expert, and want a pat answer.
It's the 4th of March, and we've come along to Hexham livestock market, where they sell cows and sheep and that kind of thing. I thought there were going to be little things like that. We're at a once-a-year event here where young farmers I think they're given grants to purchase a calf sort of 6 months ago, last year, and what they have to do is suckle the calf through the winter and grow it as much as they can, and then they then sell the calves, and the young farmer that actually makes the most money on the calf wins the competition. So we should have, and I think there are over 60 calves that have been purchased and are entering this competition. They're not being sold today. I think they're going to be sold tomorrow. We've brought along 50 copies of Silent Killers to hand out with a message which reads, have you seen any unexplained animal deaths or injuries? Watch this shocking documentary for full information. And it's got my telephone number on here. So we're going to hand these 50 DVDs out to anyone who keeps large amounts of cattle or sheep. These strange injuries. My telephone number's on. Had some good news today because my Member of Parliament Dave Anderson has actually submitted a parliamentary question to the Secretary of State Jim Fitzpatrick, asking him when he's going to reply to Richard D. Hall's correspondence about animal mutilation. My telephone number's on. Okay, right, I've handed out all 50 DVDs of Silent Killers, and it was okay until about the last 5 where I tried to give a copy to the secretary, but I didn't know it was the secretary, and he was asking all these questions: who was backing me, etc., etc., etc. And I should have asked his permission to give people DVDs. So anyway, he let me hand out the remaining ones that I had. So we're going to go to the pub because I'm bloody freezing. And what about other current hotspots, David? I believe Shropshire, Welsh border?
Yes, well, the APFU team, that's mainly Phil and Mike, they've got a little name called Operation Corridor, but the corridor's got a bit bigger.
Right.
And they're finding Phil has laboriously flogged around farms, knocking on doors for a long time, and hitting a few jackpots, and they're finding farms with incidents.
Okay.
And actually UFOs, strange things in the sky, and other strange experiences. So they're really, really occupied. So for a long time, that southwest of Shropshire, of Shrewsbury, sorry, and into the Welsh borders, seems to be a high activity.
And hopefully, you know, once they've finished those investigations, they'll report that, and you know, perhaps we can get them on the show to, you know, to tell everyone, you know, what they think's really going on.
And if people are interested, the APFU have got a website up now. It's still in sort of early days with a few teething problems with it, but there's lots of good information on there about some past cases, and there's clips from Silent Killers on it, just short bits we've taken from your documentary.
APFU.org for anyone who wants to visit that website, and I would advise you not to be having your tea when you log on. Okay, now I've actually started a little campaign of myself, which you're aware of, whereby I went to see my MP, Dave Anderson, last August, and I sat with him and I handed him a copy of the Silent Killers documentary, and I said, well, there's some definite evidence in this documentary that there's a government cover-up, because you revealed in that documentary that certainly people within DEFRA or MAF at the time appeared to be wanting to cover up and not let the public know, and including the farming media, what is really going on in this country with regards to animal mutilation. So I took that up with my MP, and after, after a couple of months, when he got round to viewing it, he then handed that to the Minister for Agriculture, Jim Fitzpatrick, and that was in December 2009. So I have then sent him a letter, and I've sent him an email. This is Fitzpatrick asking. Actually, he did reply to me, but this was before he'd seen Silent Killers, and he just said that my ministers do not have any information on this subject, and that was it, a blank denial. So that was when my MP's then since then given him a copy of Silent Killers. I don't know whether he's watched it. I've been emailing him, trying to get an answer from the minister, and he hasn't replied. So quite recently, my MP has tabled a PQ, a parliamentary question, to ask when the minister will reply to Richard D. Hall about animal mutilation.
But didn't you first actually approach the Secretary of State, Hilary Benn?
Yes.
Who's Fitzpatrick's boss in a way?
That's right.
And he nominated Fitzpatrick as his man who would be in the know. Is that
yes.
right?
Well, so, I don't know whether Hilary Benn nominated Fitzpatrick. I think I did send a copy of Silent Killers to Hilary Benn, and the reply, the initial reply came from Fitzpatrick, but there was no indication that he'd watched the DVD or been handed the DVD, which is why Dave Anderson then handed him the DVD. Yeah. But I think Fitzpatrick's area is farm animals, which is probably why it's been handed to him. But my guess is that they're not going to be in office in a couple of months' time.
Yes, so they're probably stalling deliberately.
Maybe.
Before they reply.
Perhaps we should be badgering the Conservative shadow
the incoming man, yes, whoever he may be.
Yeah.
Well,
but
good luck for that. Well done.
Yeah, but when we get an answer to the parliamentary question, or if Jim Fitzpatrick actually replies to me in detail, obviously I will publicise whatever he says, and he's quite welcome to come on this show if he would like to and discuss why DEFRA cover up incidents of animal mutilation in the UK, because it's a real phenomenon. The evidence is there.
I mean, the farmers themselves are unhappy that they're not getting information from what's going on. I mean, some of them, if you just get the odd one, write it off as a predator, or just bury it, get rid of the carcass. But a lot of them are not getting the information. Now they're from the farming press, like the Farmers Weekly, Farmers Guardian, and editorial people there in the past, having seen my appeal advert, I thought, oh, story here, and then they cobble something together, and then suddenly it's rejected and blocked. So they're not supporting the farming community through the farming media, are they?
Yes, and we can postulate as to how a cover-up may be being orchestrated, because I've heard it said that every local authority has somebody within that local authority whose job it is to keep an eye out for such incidents and alert DEFRA or a unit within DEFRA. Yeah. Is that right, David?
Yes.
Have you heard that?
Yes, that's true. Yes. Freebury.
Mike Freebury told you that?
Yeah. Well, he had a problem because he picked up two sheep from Dartmoor, and he'd been particularly investigating the Dartmoor incidents, starting off with a pony case from 1977, and found that the sheep mutilations were still ongoing in Dartmoor. And he removed 2 sheep to a veterinary practice near his home in the West Midlands, and all of a sudden they must have been listening to his mobile phone calls, and instructions came from the health authorities, whatever, to the veterinary practice to not provide any more assistance to Mr. Freebury and the APFU. So they're keeping an eye on us, what we're doing, and trying to impede our work, if you like. And
it is quite possible that Jim Fitzpatrick, the Minister for Farm Animals, does have no knowledge of this.
Yes, I think the whole business is kept in small compartments, and it's the old need-to-know thing again. And I suspect DEFRA have special units to deal with it. So the body of most of the employees within DEFRA won't have a clue what it's all about.
Yes.
And I think that's the safest way to play it. That's probably what they're doing. Yeah.
And you think there's, nobody really knows, but do you think the intelligence agencies would be involved in that? I mean, there's no hard evidence of it, though, is there?
No, but I suspect there would be.
Yeah.
Someone's pulling strings, and I think the people who are directing all this in America. And the American intelligence agencies have some clout and influence on our UK intelligence agencies and our organisations like DEFRA.
Okay.
To keep the lid on all this as best as they can. I think that's the objective.
And anyone who's witnessed anything, either in the past or recently, we'd love to know about it, because there's a campaign to collect new evidence for this particular phenomenon, isn't there, David?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay, right. Well, we're going to go for another commercial break now, so we'll be back soon.